Welcome to 11 Game Stretch. My name is Alex Schneider, along with my good friend and co-host.
Once again, same old, I'm Polithy.
We're kind of switching things up a little bit. We're gonna try and make these a little bit shorter, the podcast. So we're gonna start doing Wednesday nights. We're gonna just start doing just league stuff, and then on Sundays we'll just do straight Cardinals stuff. We might hit on like if something drastically happens in the league, we might touch on that, but trying to keep them shorter. So just for today, the focus is going to be the All-Star voting and the All-Star game, just because those votes came out. They're starting the final vote here now, actually, so you can go vote on those. But I'm going to go ahead and read you off the American League roster if you didn't know. Got it pulled up here on sbnation.com. Basically, it goes catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, the outfielders, and then the DH. So I'm just going to go in that order. Salvador Perez from the Royals gets to start. Eric Hosmer from the Royals also gets to start at first base. Jose Altuve for second base. Manny Machado for third base. Xander Bogaerts to shortstop. Mike Trout, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts to the outfield. And the DH is David Ortiz, which is well-deserving in my eyes. Couple of the pitchers. There's only 5 technically starting pitchers for the AL. Couple surprising ones. Kelvin Herrera's made it. He's actually really good. Stephen Wright, knuckleballer. I love the knuckleball. He's in there as well. That's really Brad Branch from the Orioles. I don't really know who that is, but apparently he's all-star worthy. The reserves, just reading them off. Stephen Vogt from the Athletics. Matt Wieters from the Orioles rounds out your catchers. First base is Miguel Cabrera. A little weird seeing him at a reserve spot. Robinson Cano makes it in. So both our second base picks that we had for best overall is both play the All-Star game. Yours is starting, well-deserved. Josh Donaldson is a reserve for third base. Francisco Lindor. Eduardo Nunez actually made it, which is really nice. I actually have liked him. Carlos Beltran gets it. Ian Desmond, who having a quiet, really good season, made it. Mark Trumbo, slugger, he made it. And Edwin Encarnacion also made it. I actually do not have the reserves pulled up, but I thought you did, Paul. Do you want to go ahead and read off my AL ones for me?
The AL reserves? Or
final vote.
The final vote. Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes, I do. Ian Kinsler, Evan Longoria, Dustin Pedroia, Michael Saunders, the outfielder from the Blue Jays, and George Springer, the outfielder from the Houston Astros.
All good choices from that, of what I can tell. So
we will get into that when we break down the American League. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and do the NL starters. Catcher Buster Posey. He was how do I say this without screwing up? Molina did. He was leading the vote for basically the entire All-Star process, and then with about a week to go, Posey overtook him. So Posey is your starter. Molina's not actually in the All-Star game this year. Anthony Rizzo at first base. Ben Zobrist at second base. Addison Russell at shortstop. Chris Bryant at third base. You have an all-Cubs infield. We'll get our thoughts on that as well here soon. In the outfield is going to be Bryce Harper, Yoenis Cespedes, and Dexter Fowler, who right now is injured and may or may not be playing or starting for the NL. NL reserves. At catcher, you have Jonathan Lucroy and Wilson Ramos from the Nationals. First base, you have Paul Goldschmidt and Will Myers from the Padres. He'll be their person. Shortstop, the rookie Corey Seager from the Dodgers. Third baseman, Nolan Arenado. Matt Carpenter is the lone Cardinals player on the team. And outfield, you have Carlos Gonzalez from the Rockies, Odubel Herrera from the Phillies, Marcell Ozuna from the Marlins, and Adam Duvall from the Reds. Pitchers wise, it's a pretty stacked staff. I like it better than the AL, but it would be Jerick Arrieta, Madison Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, Jose Fernandez, Clayton Kershaw, if he's not injured, which he probably will be, so he'll be replaced. Closer wise, you have Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers, Mark Melancon from the Pirates, AJ Ramos from the Marlins, and Fernando Rodney from, I guess, the Marlins. He was just traded to Miami, so I'm kind of interested to see what team he'll be donning at the All-Star game. So back to the hold up here. Sorry, the NL final vote candidates are Brandon Belt from the Giants, Ryan Braun from the Brewers, Jake Lamb, Arizona Diamondbacks, Starling Marte, the outfielder for the Pirates, and Trevor Story, the rookie shortstop from the Rockies. So headed back to the American League, Alex, give me your initial quick thoughts on the AL starters, the reserves, and the pitchers. If you have any thoughts, we'll give you a minute or two or three here to elaborate.
Okay. Overall, I think the way that it kind of shook out, I like the way that it is. I think the American League roster, the starting nine that they have out there, they actually hit it right on the head. Everybody's really deserving. My second favorite team, the Red Sox, kind of pulled through and took a lot of those candidates. But I don't really see any holes in their lineup, in their starters, like I do in the National League. For the past couple of years, the American League has run this course and has run straight through the National League with no issue. So I don't have a problem with their starting nine, or the eight, actually, I should say, because, well, pitcher, I don't know who's going to start for them. The shocking part for me, and we talked about it before we started, was they only have, what did I say, 5 technically starting pitchers?
Yeah.
So, which is really surprising, which I think if you don't have – I could probably think of a couple more people that are probably all-star game worthy for for starting pitchers wise in the AL. I really don't know. I can't really name any off the top of my head. Right now.
Just for comparison, the National League has 9 starting pitchers. That does count Clayton Kershaw, who was injured, is probably not going to be on the roster. But in the initial voting, the NL has 9, so that is almost double the American League.
Yeah, and what I want to say real quick is a lot of people think that what separates the two leagues is the DH and ODH. In my eyes, I think what separates the NL from the AL is pitching. Like, NL has a lot of good pitching, and the AL does not. They focus more on offense. And
that's why the AL's won the past couple of years, is because they've just clobbered the hell out of the baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Craig Kimbrell actually is now on the AL side, is in the All-Star game for the Red Sox, which is I've always liked him. Robinson Cano has made it for me. Has made it in second base for me in the category. Josh Johnson's not starting at third base, which is kind of a shocker.
Although it's kind of hard to argue with it, I think, because Machado is just as deserving.
Dude, there are so many good third basemen in the American League. It's unreal how many people can play that position so well in the American League. And then we have a couple people in the National League that can play third base really well. But other than that, Ian Desmond, like I said.
I was just going to say one quick thing. It seems like the AL has very deep third baseman and the NL has very deep shortstop class. Yeah.
And the shortstop class and the third base class, both of them are really young players too. But like I was going to say, Ian Desmond, who's having a quiet, really good season, gets to start. He kind of rubbed me the wrong way when he played in the Nationals, and that's just because he's good and he knew it, so he kind of showed it. Now he's playing for the right reasons, not for money. He's playing to win, and that's really awesome to see. So more power to him. And my favorite player in all of Major League Baseball, Carlos Beltran, gets into the All-Star game. Couldn't be more happier for him. But that's all I have for the All-Star game or for the American League with my thoughts. Good lineup, good roster. I think it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, with the AL starters, the first thing that jumps out to me is, boy, that is a young starting roster. And they can – and it's an all-star game, so I'm not necessarily surprised by this fact. But, man, oh, man, can they really hit the baseball. I don't have any issues with it, same as you. I think they're all deserving, and I'm not really surprised by it. I think it's all very fair. And they're all very deserving. And I don't really have anything with the reserves either. I think they're all also very deserving and very fair. The two players that I was surprised by were Brad Branch from the Orioles, and if you've never heard of him, I don't blame you because neither have I. and then Kelvin Herrera from the Royals. So, I had to pull up their numbers. I was thinking to myself, okay, these are probably 7th or 8th inning guys. And I want to know how they've been doing this season. So I pulled up Brad Branch's stats. This season he is 5-1 with a 0.99 ERA. He's appeared in 37 games, so not a small sample size. He's been pitching really well. He's only allowed 5 earned runs, 13 walks, and 53 strikeouts, all for a reliever.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty really good. Yeah. So I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, good for him. It's kind of fun to see these 7th or 8th inning guys get in. I know Pat Neshek from the Cardinals made it here a few years ago. It's always kind of interesting to see how they incorporate them into the All-Star game. But as for Kelvin Herrera, he is appeared in 39 games and has a 1-1 record with a 1.40 ERA, 7 walks and 49 strikeouts. So, I mean, I can't argue with that either. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's a closer or another 8th inning guy that should be on there. I mean, he seems very deserving to me.
And the thing is, too, when it comes to relief pitching, keeping your ERA down like that is really hard because you allow one inning and you pitch like if you allow one earned run in 1 inning, your ERA jumps drastically up there.
And, the thing is about some of these relief pitchers is that they come in with runners inherited on base. And maybe while they're – say those runners score and that those runners will be tagged to the previous pitcher, they're still runners on base. And if they can keep them from scoring, that's incredibly impressive. We have an extra minute or so here. Who would get your AL final vote? Again, you have Ian Kinsler, Evan Longoria, Dustin Pedroia, Michael Saunders, and George Springer. It's
really hard. I really like a couple years ago, Evan Longoria and Dustin Pedroia were your top people at their positions, and I like both of them. Really, I would go probably with Pedroia. I just think because of the fact that the third base class that we have already in this game is super high, and yeah, they're whistly, but I really like to see Petey get in. I really like Justin Pedroia a lot. So you really can't argue with both. And like I said, with both leagues' final vote, they're both really good final votes, except for Ryan Braun, and I've already talked about that with the whole steroid thing. I really don't want to get into that. But, I mean, just a couple minutes ago, I saw Michael Saunders hit a home run tonight. Yep. So, I mean, that gives him 16, I think I saw. So, I mean, it's crazy how many of these people are just having really good seasons out of nowhere. Jackie Bradley Jr., who's been a stud all season. So, I would say Dustin Pedroia for me.
I'm not going to argue with that. I do think that the third base and second base people who are already in the All-Star game are really good, and we don't need any more of them. So to me, that automatically disqualifies Kinsler, Longoria, and Pedroia. I'm going to go with George Springer. He had a really slow first couple weeks, and then he's really turned it on. I think having another outfielder who's like that, nothing wrong with that. But, I mean, that's not saying that these other guys are not deserving, because they obviously are. And I wouldn't be surprised whoever gets in.
I'm actually currently watching the Cardinal game. It is on Fox Sports Midwest right now. Randall Grichuk gets to start in center field for the Cardinals. That was rough to say that. And David Freese actually playing first base for the Pirates. Guess what he did? He hit a dinger.
He homered, yep.
Hit a dinger. That's what first basemen do. I'm not going to get on it again. On-base percentage is crap, but David Freese hit a dinger in St. Louis again. Good to see him actually playing well, so congrats to him.
He's been a nice pickup for the Pirates. So, yeah, like you said, it's good to see him be playing well.
Wait, did you see that Eric Fryer got picked up by the Pirates too?
I did, and he hurt us last night. Yeah, he had, 2 or 3 RBIs?
Yeah, he can just hit. He's actually, I think he's starting right now. Yeah, he is for the Pirates. So go check that game out if you're not doing nothing. Even though I won't see this till later.
So shifting over to the National League. Give me your initial thoughts. Same thing with the American League, or that we just did with the American League.
Oh man, like I said on our Facebook page a little while ago, I didn't think Chris Bryant was so worthy of getting in. You think that offense is going to win this thing, and I don't know if that's completely true. I think defense is going to come into play. I think this is where you get your first full mix of offense versus defense.
I hope you're right, but just given the past couple seasons, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, but right off the bat, from what I can tell, I think the National League is going more offense. I mean, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Bryce Harper, Yoenis Cespedes. I mean, those are some sluggers right there. The only two problems that I have with this roster, it's not so much the Ben Zobrist thing because he is a good on-base guy, and that's second base is kind of one of those positions where you can either go on base or you can go power.
Yeah.
Ben Zobrist, I like Ben Zobrist. Only problems I have is Addison Russell starting shortstop and Dexter Fowler starting outfield. Addison Russell is right now, out of the three top shortstops in the league, he is third. No, he's not even.
I might even consider him the fifth best shortstop in the National League.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's not the third. That's Trevor. He's fourth or fifth in the National League. Corey Seager is first. Aledmus Diaz is second. Yep. He's not even in the All-Star game. Doesn't even have a vote for the All-Star game.
Nope.
And Addison Russell, who doesn't have a really good batting average. He's probably having an average season at best right now. Is starting shortstop for you in the All-Star game, and I think is a load of baloney. That's dumb. You're trying to put out the best. You're trying to put out the best possible lineup, and Addison Russell is not part of your best possible lineup. The only reason that you could even give me a thing is, the Cubs are playing so well that he's on their team, but he's not putting together an offensive like anything. He hasn't contributed at all. He's hit a couple dingers here and there, and the Cubs are falling back to the pack now.
And I'm gonna compare.
And Aledmus Diaz just got hit.
And I'm gonna compare real quick Seager's numbers to Addison Russell's numbers. Addison Russell so far this season: 11 home runs. 242 average. That's horrendous. A 242 average for an all-star. 2 stolen bases. So it's not like he's a speed demon out there. 78 strikeouts. So he's on pace to strike out about 150 times. And 48 RBIs. That's not all that impressive. It's good for a young shortstop. Don't get me wrong. And he's going to be good in the future. But let's shift over to Corey Seager here for a second. 304 average. 17 home runs. 41 RBIs, only 1 stolen base, so he's not going to run around the base paths either. And 67 strikeouts. So you have lower strikeouts, 60-point higher batting average, 6 more home runs, has shown a lot more power. The OBP is 30 points better. I don't know why Corey Seager's not starting. That kind of annoys me. But I'm not one to argue. And
even then, the batting average of Aledmus Diaz is much higher. The home runs is about the same as Addison Russell. I think it's about 11, but the RBIs are higher for Aledmus Diaz. He's batting what was it? What is he batting? It was like what, probably about 310?
He's batting about 300. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 310, something like that. So I mean, I understand the whole fan vote and. I understand, and that's a good idea to have it. But if you're trying to field the best possible team, I really think that it should be that whoever's managing the game should get to pick who plays the starting 8 in the positions. They get to choose who they want to start to field the best possible team, and then the fans get to vote on the bench players and all this kind of stuff. I'm a believer in the All-Star game. It means something to a fan of a ball club who's in the playoffs every single year, who has the potential to go to the World Series.
Let me expand on that point. I am also with you. I think the manager should pick the starting 8 because the game means something. Let's not forget this. I don't agree with the game meaning something. That's kind of ridiculous and it's a load of bunk. But it still means something nonetheless. And that's just the way it is. And you're telling me Dexter Fowler is going to start in an all-star game that means something to these teams? No.
No. I take Andrew McCutchen at center field before I take Dexter Fowler.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times. I don't care if he's going if McCutchen's going through a slump season. I'm taking him every single time. Oh, get up, ball. Oh. But I just don't understand how the AL gets it right every single year, but the NL struggles behind everything.
Yeah.
The NL fans, I have to say this. I think the NL fans are probably, I don't want to say some of the dumbest, but they're so much more focused on their own teams.
Yeah.
Although,
I mean, at the same time, we had God knows who, the Royals fans last year doing the ballot stuffing, and they almost got, some of those middle infielders in the game, and we were about to have a cow.
Yeah, Omar Infante, and Alcides Escobar do not deserve to be there from an offensive standpoint, and that's what the AL is building. I like Alcides Escobar, I really do. I'm a huge guy when it comes to defense. I've mentioned that a bunch of times. I think defense wins more than offense will. Offense, you basically, to be good, you do 3 out of every 10. When you play defense, if you have a 900 fielding percentage, you're top of your class. That takes work. That takes skill. Hitting 3 out of 10 times doesn't take as much. Like, it really doesn't. Like, and that's what people don't understand. How much – do you know the difference between a 300 batting average to a 400 batting average? I think eventually we're going to get to the point where a 400 batting average is normal.
Yeah.
Hitting is getting better. Pitching is getting worse. Point proven, the fact that there's 5 starting pitchers for the AL. That doesn't – like, it doesn't make sense, and people see it the whole wrong way. They're so much more focused on their own team than they are reaching out and fielding the best possible team. Corey Seager should start at center or at shortstop. My eyes didn't even make it in for – I don't think he did he? Oh, Daniel Murphy did make it in. Daniel Murphy should start at second. And to be honest, like we talked in the show, Dexter Fowler out and he's hurt. Still get his name announced. I'm okay with him doing that. But Chris Bryant needs to move to the outfield. Yoenis Cespedes should start in center. And Nolan Arenado deserves to start at third base. I don't know how much more I can say this. He sucks up everything. He is a vacuum at third base.
Just one quick thing before we end on the All-Star thing is that I was saying a couple weeks ago that Nolan Arenado is by far better than Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's been proving me wrong here the last couple weeks. He's been just – his hitting has been really, really, really good, and there's a reason he's leading the league in home runs. So I can see why he's starting now, but I still think Nolan Arenado is the more well-rounded player. Because, like you said, he sucks up everything, and he's a Gold Glove third baseman.
Yeah, and that's what I posted on the Facebook page was that Chris Bryant, I didn't give him enough credit. I really didn't. He has hit a lot of dingers, and so in an offensive game, like you said, he full-fledged deserves it. But I think with the ballpark being so big in San Diego, defense is going to play more of a factor than what you think.
Sure.
To be honest with you.
Sure.
But hey, I mean, I guess we're going to see how it goes from here on out, and I wish best of luck to all the All-Stars, including Matt Carpenter, who made it.
Real quickly, and I want your answer in 30 seconds or less. Name your 2 starters, and note that Clayton Kershaw is not going to be pitching.
Oh, well, that's easy. I think the AL should be Steven Wright. Just kidding. I don't say but starting pitcher for I think Mad Bum. Jake Arrieta's had a bad season.
Yeah.
I think Mad Bum starts at that or Noah Syndergaard. And
yeah, I'm with you.
Let Mad Bum hit. Have a home run derby for pitchers, please. I'm begging you. Please do it. Oh, my gosh.
I'm with you. I'm going to go Chris Sale and Mad Bum. But if if Terry Collins, the manager from the Mets, picks his own guy and Noah Syndergaard, it's not like I'm gonna be angry at that.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'm
what's going
not
to keep
crying
that
at
is I heard Noah Syndergaard has a bone chip or something. Him and one
Yeah.
of their other pitchers has
Matz,
a bone
Steven
chip, and
Matz.
they're gonna try and pitch through it. So that may be keeping him. But I mean, Thor, how can you go against him? 116 mile an hour fastball, and
Yeah.
he's just really good. So like I said, congrats to all the All Stars. I'll be watching Home Run Derby and the All Star game. Rooting on the one Cardinal who made it, which there should be at least two, but we're off of that now. But congrats to Matt Carpenter and good luck to all the All Stars. Congratulations.
Before we wrap up here, we want to get into two more quick things of league news. There were two games this past week that were sort of interesting. One of them was a Red Sox Angels game. I believe it was over the weekend. That was 22-2 or 21-2 in Angels victory. And then last week on July 1st, there was an Indians Blue Jays game that went 19 innings that we have some thoughts on as well. Alex, give us your quick thoughts on that Red Sox Angels game and a brief rundown.
My big problem with it was I don't know who started the game. I want to say it was Clay Buchholz. I really do. I think the big problem is the Red Sox need new pitching. Got to have new pitching. David Price can stay. I don't mind Steven Wright at all. He's had a really good season, but they need new pitching. I don't understand how a team below 500 can score 22, 21 runs on a team who's going to probably be in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that happens. I don't get how that pitching would have been that difficult that they scored 20 some odd runs. I don't understand how you do it for a living, and it's that hard for you to get to close out games.
And they get 3 outs.
Exactly. And like I said, I am a Red Sox game. I don't care who would have been played. I was seriously angry at the sport of baseball for that game. That game should not happen ever. Professionals getting paid millions of dollars, and you're going to tell me you're going to have a blowout game like that? You deserve to get benched, some fine. And I wouldn't say fine, but fine, actually fine. You pitched awful. Whoever it was pitched awful. I hope that you went home that night and that kept you awake because it should. That's how bad that game was. I was not happy with it. Real quick, Eric Fryer did not start the game tonight. Kratz did. But I don't know what I want to call it, but how about this? Dipshit of the week is the Boston Red Sox. Hands down. Boston Red Sox pitching and offense. How do you score 2 runs against a team that's under 500? And they score 20 some odd runs.
To me, it's not the fact that they scored 2 because baseball is just a weird sport. My problem is the 21 runs, 22 runs. It's just one of those games where you have to throw out the tape, move on to the next one.
I was not happy at all with the way that was going. I didn't even watch the game. I was highly upset at what was going on, especially with the Red Sox having 5 All-Stars going, can't get things done. The game's over with now, but whatever you want to call it, dipshit of the week, dumbass of the day, whatever it is, Boston Red Sox take the cake. That might be the worst game all season.
No, yeah, you're actually spot on. And in the last minute and a half here, I want to address the Red Sox Blue Jays game. Last week there was Indians were playing the Blue Jays in Toronto, and the game went 19 innings, and it was one of those games where just no one could score. The final score was 2-1. And what was interesting to me about it was that there were 2 position players for the Blue Jays who were pitching, and usually you see that in a blowout game. If it's 22-2 and the Cardinals are losing, they're probably going to go ahead and throw out Greg Garcia to the mound so they don't waste their pitching for the next day. But you don't see that in a game teams are trying to win, especially the Blue Jays, because they need to rack up some victories right now. And they threw out 2 second basemen. They threw out Ryan Goins and Dustin Barney. And the Indians,
Darwin Barney,
Darwin Barney. My bad. Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, Paul.
Anyway, And then the Indians threw out their next day starter, Trevor Bauer. And the Indians won the game. Now, I'm not going to say it was a direct result of the Blue Jays throwing out two position players, but the Indians did win the game nonetheless. And Alex, quickly, do you think the Blue Jays should have thrown out two position players? I think that if they really did want to win the game, they should have thrown out the next day starter.
Yeah, especially since Goins got hurt. I completely agree with that. Next day starter. I think anytime the game goes more than – how many innings was that game?
19.
Anytime the game goes more than 11, once you get past the 11th inning, you got to throw a starter. You have to. I don't understand why teams just waste their bullpen and then decide to say screw it. And or I don't know if it was the starting pitchers decided, hey, we don't want to pitch this game. We're scheduled to pitch tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Get it over yourself. Pitch the game. Your team's trying to win ball games. You're trying to make the playoffs. Do it for the team. And the managers get it through your head. Once it gets past so many innings, starter. But I completely agree with you. Hands down, 110%. I think the game was won because the Indians threw out a starter. Yeah, I mean, you're facing two starters in one game.
Exactly. And note that the Indians have been extremely hot lately, as provided their 14-game winning streak. I'm looking at the box score here. Where is it? Trevor Bauer threw 5 innings in that game. And, the Blue Jays just kept throwing out relievers and throwing out position players. My final comment is if the Blue Jays miss the playoffs, either by the wild card or the division, by one game, you know what game to point to. That's all I got for you.
110%. I will completely agree. Same thing with the Red Sox. You know what game you can point to on that one. I think that kind of tells us. Man, I don't know what it is. Like with managers, I don't know if just they don't think clearly or what. But I mean, come on, guys. I understand stuff's hard. Make right decisions for your team. Don't be complete idiots. I completely agree. Real quick, I'm gonna try and keep posting things to the Facebook page. I'm gonna try and start doing that a little bit more. We're gonna get good feedback from you guys, so keep that up. Really appreciate it. Getting some good conversations. Actually, the one I got with was a buddy of mine. But keep it up. We like having you guys watch the videos, comment on the videos, comment on the page, say something. Anything. We had a girl talk about her clothes one day, about all her Cardinal clothes. And Granted, it was a little weird, and I didn't know really how to respond to that, but she still took the time to do that, and I appreciate 110%. Thank you guys for doing that. And thanks real quick. Thumbs up to my mom for sending that out to have people like the page. She won't watch this, I know, but thumbs up to her. And thank you to all the people who like that from her work and people she knows. Thank you very much for the support. But other than that, that's all I got for you, Paul.
That's all I got as well. Just a reminder that we're going to be back with Cardinal stuff on Sundays, Sunday nights or Monday mornings, but at the very least it'll be Monday mornings, depending on when we record. But yeah, that'll be it for now. We're going to make this Cardinal podcast probably around 15, 20 minutes long. So that way, if you don't want to watch the league news, you can go right ahead to the Cardinal stuff. Or if you don't want to listen to the Cardinals, us rant about the Cardinals, come on over to league news. Either way, that is this week's version of league news from the 11th inning stretch. For Alex Schneider, my name is Paul Eppy. It was good to see you, and we'll be back next week.
See you guys.